I was like, okay, what have I done here that I haven't done back home? And then it struck me, going to a nude beach. Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jessie. Today's video is called the Living Abroad Tag, or you also could call it the Expat Tag. Basically, a bunch of questions that I will be answering about my experiences living abroad, living in a different country. Recently on my YouTube, I've seen a couple of different videos about this, and I thought it would be really fun to do it myself. I thought this would be a fun way for you guys to get to know me a little bit better, and let's jump into it, shall we? First question is, what is your home country? I am from the United States, from California, Northern California. Next up, which country do you currently live in? I live in Germany, in Berlin, the capital. Really enjoying it here. Number 3, do you live alone or with your family? I used to live in a WG, which is a shared apartment. I lived with another girl from Switzerland. But last year, my boyfriend and I moved in together, so now I'm living with him, my partner. Number 4, how long have you lived there? Like, how long have I lived here in Germany? It has been almost 4 years. I think it's like 3.5 years since I moved back to Germany, but I also spent 1 year here before during my bachelor's. So I came here, lived here for 1 year, and then left Germany and then spent a couple of years away. Now came back again. 3.5 years ago I came back again, so kind of a collective 4.5 years. Number 5, have you ever lived in another country? If so, which one? Yes, I have. As I mentioned in the last question, I lived in Germany and then left for a few years and then came back. During those years where I was away, I spent 2 of those years living in Argentina. And I also lived in Spain for 6 months. I did an exchange semester there to Zaragoza. Why did you decide to move abroad? I made a couple of videos kind of related to this question, but essentially I just wanted to see as much of the world as I could, to travel. I really like being immersed in another culture and just learning how different people live their lives differently and how different cultures do things. I think that's really fascinating, so I want to experience that myself. Do you speak the local language, and was it hard to learn? Yes, I speak German. Was it hard to learn? Definitely. I'm still in the process of learning it. I'm definitely not fluent or very good at it. Having this like deeper knowledge, or like when I try to talk, I feel like for the most part I can get my idea across, but it's just my grammar is extremely flawed. So that's something I need to work on, is really getting those grammar rules down. What was the easiest part in adjusting to your new country? Specifically about moving to Berlin, because I've only ever lived in Berlin in Germany, was just the fact that it's a big city, but it doesn't have skyscrapers and things like that, because I grew up in a small town, and especially living in the States, everything is super flat. So I never lived in like a city with huge skyscrapers, and so the first time I moved here, I was really glad that the city is relatively flat. Nothing is particularly tall, so like it didn't feel like some big, tall, scary city. The next question is, what was the hardest part about adjusting to your new country? And for me, definitely the weather. Like, I honestly don't think I'm adjusted to it now. It's just really different, the weather here, and I guess when you grow up always experiencing weather a certain way, and then when it's really different, it's just hard to adjust to. The winters here are much longer, darker, colder than any winter that I had growing up. That's been really hard for me, especially the darkness. The cold, I can deal with that, but the darkness I find particularly difficult. Even then, I find the summers are obviously really nice. The Berlin summer is beautiful, but I often find myself really missing the California summers I had growing up. It's just not hot enough for me. I really love hot summers, and I find myself spending the entire German summer just waiting for that hot summer feeling. At least the last few years, there's usually like 2 weeks, incredibly hot, heat wave, and everyone here in Berlin is suffering, and I'm just there like, yeah, finally summer arrived. And I love it. Maybe I'm the only one. What do you think of the country that you live in, and how well do they receive foreigners? I really love Germany. I think it's great. I'm super happy to be living here. I've had a lot of good experiences with Germans, and some not so nice, but I don't think that was because I'm a foreigner. I just think that sometimes To me, the German culture can feel rude because it's different than what I grew up with in the States. But I don't think that rudeness was people trying to be mean to me because I'm a foreigner. I think they would have done that to anyone. Berlin is a super international city, so I think overall foreigners feel welcome and safe here. But I would say overall Germany is open to foreigners. Tell us about a tourist attraction or a sightseeing place that you like and talk about it a little bit. Let's see. I guess the Berlin Wall is really interesting, and it's something that everybody wants to see when they come to Berlin because it's so incredibly famous. There's a lot of different areas that you can see the wall. Like there's the East Side Gallery, which is really famous, and it has the beautiful painted murals. You can go to the Bernauer Straße area and see it there. What I also like is that there's this bike path that goes all along the entire wall. It's called the Mauerweg. Describe one difference between your home country and your current country. The first thing that pops into my mind is just friendliness. And I think this is a quite stereotypical thing. It's not going to be a surprise to anyone watching this video, I think. But overall, US Americans are much more friendly than Germans, like whether it's in store or retail or people that you meet at work or in school. Like I think Americans are just friendlier. And some Germans, rightly so, will critique this and say, but Americans are just like fake or shallow and they don't like this. And I agree. I think the States can be more shallow feeling, but I really like that, even if it's a little bit fake. I really like the friendliness, and I think it's easier to strike up a conversation with people. Obviously here I have a language barrier, but I think even without that language barrier, people aren't just striking up conversations with strangers all the time. And I miss that ease of being able to just talk to strangers and not have it be really weird to do so. Next up, do you miss your family? 100%. Yes. Definitely miss my family, miss my friends, miss my dog. It's really hard not to see the people that you care about, and it's hard to be gone for so long. I've missed a lot of big events. I've missed weddings, just things happening in people's lives, and I feel guilty that I'm not there to share in these major moments. What products from your home country do you miss the most? It's hard to say because I feel like Germany kind of has everything, and maybe if it's not the same exact product, you buy something similar and you get used to it. So I don't really have any major issues with missing things. There are certain foods that I miss. I guess right now, like I'm in the process of trying to learn more about how to take care of my hair to bring out these natural waves and curls that I have. There's more products available in the States. Right now, I miss not having all of these options. What is one thing that you regret doing when you moved to your new country? I would say I would regret not learning more German. The light kind of. It's not as sunny as it was earlier. What's something you use every day where you live that you think your home country should also have? This is definitely a tea kettle, like a water kettle, water cooker. I had never saw these in the States. They're not common. People don't use it. If I want to make a tea or boil water, we have this kind of kettle that you put on your stove and that cooks the water, but I've never had this electronic one that cooks the water a lot faster than the stovetop one does, so it's really handy. I don't know why we don't use them in the States, and we definitely should. What is one thing that you said yes to in your new city that you wouldn't have said yes to in your home country? This took me a moment to think of the answer because I was like, okay, like what have I done here that I haven't done back home? And then it struck me, going to a nude beach. Definitely not a thing in the United States. People don't sunbathe nude or go to nude beaches normally. Here in Germany, it's much more accepted and people are more free with their bodies, which I really appreciate. I found it strange the first time I went and kind of uncomfortable, but you get used to it. In the end, I really like it. What are your plans for the future? Do you envision yourself living here forever? Plans for the future: finish my master's, get a full-time job, continue to live here. Yes, I see myself living in Germany for the next couple of years, the foreseeable future, but forever is a big word. I don't know if I want to say that I will be here forever, but the foreseeable future, yes. The next 5 years, yes. The next 50 years, I don't know. I don't really know where life is going to take me, and I'm open to that adventure. What suggestions or tips would you give to someone who wants to live in this country? If you want to live in Germany, number one, just start learning German right now. And if you know you want to live in Germany long term, just take a full year at the beginning to fully learn German. I would highly recommend doing that. Just be flexible. This goes to anyone trying to move to a new country, is that you just have to be flexible in terms of learning how a new culture works and adjusting your ways, and yeah, you just have to go with the flow a little bit. And finally, the last question, would you ever move to a brand new country? If so, why? I definitely would be open to moving to a new country. I love exploring new places and getting to know new cultures, as I already said, and I could definitely see myself wanting to move somewhere new. I don't know where, and I don't know why I would be moving, maybe just for the sake of an adventure, or maybe I get a job offer in another country, or who knows, life happens, and I definitely would be open to moving to a new country. All right, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you got to know me a little bit more. Let me know if you have any comments or questions about this video, or if you've ever lived abroad, tell me what your experience was like. I'd love to hear from you.